All right, lesson number 3. I want to talk to you about celebrating success. And this is a huge part of the process. And I find a lot of parents tend to skip this, and I don't want you to do that. And I get why parents skip this. They're mainly looking for relief. They've been dealing with an out of control, overreactive child, or maybe several children. It's been a struggle every day. They've been battling. They've been just at their wits' end, and finally some relief. Finally their kids are behaving a little better. Finally they're making some good choices. Finally it's not as much of a struggle to get through the day, and they're just happy to get that far. But there's so much more. There's so much more that you can have, and it's really important that you go for that. I'll give you an example of it. There was a family I worked with, and they had a very overreactive child. It was their son. And from the moment he woke up in the morning, it was a struggle. He was having meltdowns. Anytime there was a demand, they asked him to do something, or he needed to do something, get ready for school, put his clothes on, do his homework. Whatever it was, he got very overwhelmed, and he would throw meltdowns, and he would threaten to hurt himself, and he would say his parents don't love him and care about him, and then he would retaliate against his siblings. Every day was such a struggle, and it was even causing conflict between the parents and how to handle it. And this had been going on for a couple of years. I mean, it had just been horrible for them. When it finally got better, when their son finally started making some good choices and controlling his mood and not crossing the line and all that kind of stuff, they were so relieved. And when I met with them, I was happy for them, but I told them, I said, you can't stop now. There's so much more. You need to celebrate. You need to have fun. That's what you did this for. That's why, not just relief, but to enjoy your children. You love your son, and now things are good, and now you need to have that connection and have fun with him. And one of the main reasons that is so important is when the normal state of things in your home is good, where people are mostly making good choices and people are mostly getting along and things are pleasant and fun. When you do have a bad day, when your child does have a meltdown, when they do have one of those overreactive moments, they want to get back to the good place. They've seen it, they've experienced it, and they know that things can be better, and they want to get back to that good place. And the same thing for you, same thing for the whole family. When you have a bad moment, you know there's something better, and you want to get back to it. That's why you need to have fun. That's why you need to celebrate success, because it's what you want, and it's the fuel that helps you through the tough times. So when that family came in and they were telling me that they had gotten to the relief point, I said, keep going. What's something that you all love to do? And they told me about this fancy ice cream place that they love to go to. I said, okay, there it is. Treat yourself to that place. Go out and have ice cream and tell each other about how proud you are of the work that everybody's doing, and don't hold back. I mean, gloat on each other. I mean, this is a big deal. You have turned things around. Go celebrate that. Go have fun and make it a natural part of what you do to have fun and to do fun things together. It's the fuel, and it's very good. And I'll give you another example that really illustrates you don't have to have everything together. You celebrate the successes along the way. You don't wait till everything's 100% or 95% together before you celebrate. You look for the moments of success along the way. And this family is one that I worked with years and years ago when I worked for an organization that provided counseling for families that were involved in the court system. And a lot of these families were unable or unwilling to come to the offices where we worked. So my job was to drive to their home, to their location, and to counsel and work with them and help them where they were. And this one particular family, the father was in prison because he had many drug-related charges. And the son, the oldest son, teenager, he had gotten in trouble with another boy. One of them had brought liquor on the school bus, and they were drinking it in the morning. on the school bus, and by the time they got to school, they both could barely walk and talk, and this boy was suspended, almost expelled. He had legal charges, and the mom was at her wit's end because she had two younger kids who were just running riot. I mean, the mom, she just had no energy, didn't know what to do, and these kids were doing whatever they wanted. So their school attendance was horrible, and neighbors and the schools were giving complaints, and it was just a really bad situation. That's where I stepped in, and I really helped this mom start to establish some boundaries, start to have some natural consequences, learn how to respond, and helping this family just adjust to the major change that they've had in their life, with the father having to go to prison and then trying to pick up all the pieces. 3 months later, it was a very different picture. The mom was being very firm, consistent, and loving. She had very good boundaries. She was responding better. The kids were going to school. They were doing well in school. Things were really turning around, and it went from complaints and frustration to really showing some huge signs of progress. So I had a moment with this family, and I said, all right, you guys are doing awesome. It is amazing what you guys have done. We're going to celebrate. What do you want to do? And the kids all said, we want pizza. I'm like, all right, next appointment, next session, I'm coming to your house. I'm going to bring some pizza, and we're going to play games. We're going to play some board games and eat pizzas, and we are going to celebrate all the work that you guys have done. And that's exactly what we did. And I just gloated on them. I told them what an amazing job they had done, how they had pulled together as a family. When most families would have been ripped apart, they pulled together, they worked together. And I told them especially to thank their mother, because she had busted her butt to pull things together and to help these kids and to be firm. And she had gotten a part-time job, and she was really in a better place. And we celebrated. Now, I could have pointed out all the things that weren't done yet, because they had a long road to go. I could have said, well, your father's going to be back in about a year. Who knows if he's changed. And Johnny, you still have court. You have that review hearing, and you haven't finished all of your community service. I mean, they might lock you up for that. And Mom, it's great you got a job, and you're feeling better about things, but your job isn't covering the expenses. So let's look at all this other stuff we have to do before we can celebrate. No, I would never do that. This was huge. The momentum they were having was huge, and they needed to celebrate that. They needed to have a moment of reflection and say, we're doing great, and it was fun. That is what I'm talking about. It is so powerful, so energizing, so amazingly motivating when you celebrate. Another way of looking at it with your kids and your family, what would it mean to you for a week, just 1 week to go by, and everyone to mostly do what they need to do? Everyone to mostly treat each other the way that they should treat each other. To have a good week like that. My guess is it would be huge for you. You need to celebrate that. Celebrate that. And you put that out there like, hey, we're doing a great job, and we're almost through this week. If we can get through a whole week, let's go have some pizza. Let's go have some ice cream. Let's go have a game night, a movie night. And it's not about a reward. It's not one of those mistakes I was talking about before, where you're like bribing or making deals. See, that's when you kind of put that carrot out there as almost like a manipulation. Like, if you do this, then I'm going to give you something. This is very different, okay? You're not making a deal to get your kids to do something. You're teaching them to do something the right way. But when things turn around, when you have a good week, you make a big deal about it. You have fun. You celebrate it. The acknowledgement, the appreciation, the attention that you give your kids means so much to them, even if they don't show it. Because at first, I know some of you've got a difficult relationship. There's been some damage done with the kids. There's distance there. And it takes a while to build that back. But don't let that discourage you. Still celebrate. Still praise your kids for what they've done. And you'll get there. So here is what I'm asking you to do, if you haven't got the point already. I want you to look for the moments when your kids are making the right choices and when you've had a day that goes by that went mostly well, and you've had a week that goes by, and then maybe a couple months, you hit that big goal. All those things, celebrate it. Again, it is the fuel, it is the energy, it's the motivation that not only helps now, but helps you in those tough times moving forward. All right, I am so excited. That was the end of lesson number 3. And the next lesson is, I'm going to wrap things up. Very important. I got some points for you. I got some resources. I'm going to tell you about some bonus stuff, some really good stuff that I want you to see. So make sure you watch lesson 4, and I'll fill you in when you get there.